I chose monogamy because for me, sex is intimate, promiscuity is exhausting, and it also showed me my ability to restrain myself. Starting with sex is intimate. For me, I grew up in a religious household, went to church, yada, yada, yada. And I remember there was this one sermon in particular where our pastor talked about soul ties. And he talked about how sex is like the closest, most intimate, deepest soul tie. And I actually agree with that. And I took that on with me to adulthood. To me, sex is not just a high five like how we make it today. It's not just a hookup. It's not just a bust a nut or whatever like you want to say. Like, it's intimate to me. To me, having sex, especially with the same person over and over again, oh my god, that builds a bond and a connection and a love that you cannot feel with anyone else, because that person is literally inside of you. And that connection is just deep to me, and especially when you keep doing it over and over again. So for me, I knew that even when I was first coming out and I was like having sex, which I was never very promiscuous, especially when it was like coming to like full blown like penetration. I was very selective when it came to those things, but I already knew at that young age that I felt more when I had sex with someone than people other people did, if that makes sense. It was almost like I didn't feel the need to sleep around or claim I slept with a whole bunch of bodies or feel shame for being a virgin for so long. I was a virgin until I was about 18, I want to say. So it took me a while, and I never felt like I was missing out on anything. I never, like, it just was never weird for me. And when I did start having sex, I just didn't understand how people could have sex with so many people. It just was like, this is like intense, this is very intimate, this is very vulnerable, this is very like, just, it's just an intense connection and moment with that person. And ever since then, I was like, it's important for me to be mindful of who I let inside of me, literally. So that's my one reason why I chose monogamy, because yeah, sex is intimate to me. I can't just sleep with just every and anybody or a whole lot of people, because I don't want to have that bond and that connection with that many people. To this day, the folks that I have slept with, I remember who they are, and being around them, it just, I don't know, it feels different. It feels like we know each other in a way that not a lot of other people know me, if that makes sense. Did that make sense? They know me in a way that a lot of other people don't know me, because we shared those intimate exchanges, especially again, and I'm more so pointing towards the redundancy of it. And if you've never experienced that, I'm very curious as to what your perspective is on that. If you can let me know in the comments below. But I just feel like the redundancy and doing it over and over again, to me, how can you not build a bond and a connection with someone? Promiscuity was exhausting. Oh my god, the games. I do not miss the games. And even when I talk to friends every once in a while and they tell me about how this guy is no longer around, or how they just started talking to this guy, but there's this one thing, and it just, to me, I'm like, oof, I don't even like wanna I don't even wanna like dive into that hole with you, because it sounds draining and exhausting. I love clarity and simplicity and clear communication, definitely. And I just remember dating, and that was never the case. Not to say I would never end up in that place again. Like, not to say that this relationship will last me forever. I might end up dating again, and I mean, I'd be fine with that. But I do know that I prefer just consistency. I prefer having clear communication, and I know those two things were very hard to find when I was dating around, and it was exhausting. Third, monogamy showed me just how to restrain myself. I learned how to commit to one thing, and that was a hard thing. And I think it also just came with me just being in my early 20s. I wanted to like taste everything, be in every city, sleep with all these different people, or just whatever. I just wanted variety. I wanted to taste life for what it was, especially coming from a conservative household where I was controlled a lot and kind of restricted and didn't really do or go out much. When I was out, I was just ready to like just do it all. But then I realized I couldn't commit to anything. I couldn't keep a job for longer than like a year or two. I couldn't keep friendships for that long. And a relationship definitely didn't last longer than 3 months. I think before my partner, which will be together for 4 years soon, I had the longest one was maybe a year. And yeah, there was just hard, it was hard for me to stick to things. And I noticed that now that we've been together for this long, there are certain things that I might not have stuck with them consistently all the time, but I've been like getting better at coming back to certain things and doing certain things more often. And that consistency is just very healthy for me at this age, at least I would say. I think that when you're younger, in your young 20s, in your early 20s, I think it's completely okay and almost expected, and I would want you to explore. But I feel like there's a point where you have to make that shift. And if you don't make that shift, for me, if I didn't make this shift, I would have missed out on a lot of good opportunities. And I will say there were guys, not several, but two guys in particular that were really good to me prior to my current boyfriend that I just didn't pay attention to or didn't take them seriously because I was at that age of I want to explore, I want to taste, I want to have fun. But now, again, 27, getting very close to 30, I'm done exploring. I kind of want consistency, and it feels good to stay consistent with something. It feels good to have a little bit of predictability in your life. Not saying that life is predictable, but having a person in your corner, like that feels really good. And the monogamy definitely introduced that to me. And I think I just kind of poured that over into the rest of my life. It's like, maybe I will stick with YouTube. Maybe I will stick with this job, or maybe I will stick with furniture flipping until it fails. Like, I just learned to stick with things a little bit longer so that I can figure out what does and doesn't work for me. As always, I'm curious and eager to know what you all think about this topic down below. If you are in a monogamous relationship, has that changed anything for you? And why did you choose to be in a monogamous relationship? And if you're not, why not? What do you not like about monogamy? And what have you found that's an alternative that maybe all of us should try? On that note, remember to be the change you wish to see today. Take care.